Okay, this is our basic setup. At the top, we have our practice number. We'll use the example of practice number 1, and this will be first day of the season. This system right here is very, very simple to use. I mean, very, very simple. The next column we have is start of the day. I usually put daily quotes in here that the team has to memorize at the end of practice. So they can only look at it during their own water breaks, and they have to memorize it at the end of practice. And if they do not memorize it, I pick one kid, and if they do not memorize it, then we run. Okay? I got this from one of my high school coaches, and I think it is a very great culture builder or tradition builder. So right now we are only as good as our weakest link. Very basic. Probably will never be a quote of mine, but just something simple so everybody understands. And then on the side of that, I'm going to put daily quote so I know to myself that the kids have to remember this. On top of that, I'm going to put here that we must be conditioned. And this could possibly go, or it could go in the notes section, which it should, but it's all right. As long as we know what needs to be done. I believe the notes is a very, very important section of the practice plan because it tells us what we need to do as far as coaches in the practice day. For example, right now I put 5 games in the next 2 weeks. Conditioning is a must. Okay. So that is very, very important that us coaches all have this practice plan when we're attending practice. So just in case the head coach misses something, we're able to point it out and address that at practice. And then right now I'm writing down, must be able to quickly flip the script between games. That is very, very important for a good team. A lot of kids or a lot of teams or programs, they stick to one game, especially if they lose. They stick to one game, and it's the end of the world for them. But here, we'd like to teach our kids that we have to flip the script. It's a next play mentality all the time, and that's something that we truly live by and try to teach in life in general. And this right here is just some more notes to myself. Coaches need to be on the same page, and then we must be a unit. I tell my kids all the time that whoever's on the floor, we have to play 5 as 1. Okay? I believe when it comes to the coaching staff, we have to do the same exact thing. Okay? Next is when we get into the practice plan. So I always start my practices off with a stretch. It's a daily routine. The kids should know it by heart, so different kids should lead it. Or if we have captains, they will lead it every single day. We spend 5 minutes on it. And then we stretch. Followed by something very active. So, for example, right now we're going to do a 3-man weave into 2-on-1, 3-on-2 2-on-1, which is a very good transition drill, teaching kids rotations. It looks like we have a little glitch right here. That's fine. We'll just write it somewhere else. We had a bit of a glitch, so we're just gonna write the notes right here. As long as we understand what's going on, it's okay. Things happen, so we just have to be very adaptable. So I'm right now we're gonna count missed layups and turnovers. So we run for these literally as soon as we're done with this drill, and then we go from there. And here is when we get into the learning aspect of practice. I think this is the most important drill as a defensive team that there is, which is just shell defense. You can teach kids basic rotations, depending on the defense you're running. Those rotations are basic to the type of defense you're running. You can teach them how to guard the cutter through this. You can teach them how to guard side ball screens. You can teach them how to guard top ball screens. There's a lot of things that you can teach in this specific drill. You could teach where you want your pickup lines at. You could teach backside rotations. I think this is the most important drill when it comes to defense. And I don't know if that's from experience, but I think a lot of coaches would agree with me that shell defense is very, very, very important, even if it's not number one on their list. We can't forget to give kids water breaks, so we'll try to throw in. I usually don't write it on my practice plan because we just do it by how I see the team reacting during practice. So usually they only get 2 minutes, quick water, and then we're right back into it. Simple as that. And like I said before, I wouldn't organize my practice exactly like this. It's a little mix and match because I'm thinking off the top of my head. But right now we're going into our first offensive install. Typically, we would already have our offense installed before the first day of practice because a lot of our guys play summer league with us and fall league or whatever. But typically, when I do go offense on the first day, I like to go big/guard split. So that means bigs are on one side of the floor, guards are on the other side of the floor, and we're working on specific things through our offense. Okay? So, for example, if we're running let's say we're running horns, okay? We have our bigs working on coming up to screen and rolling down and catching those passes. And we have our guards working on, I don't know, using the ball screens and making progression reads. Something simple as that. Okay. Next thing we're going into is transition offense. We're just going to use this as basically how we get up and down the floor, how fast we get into our offense, different progressions into the offense, such as rub action and so on and so forth. Maybe we just go handoff into it or whatever it may be. But we're going 5 people on versus no defense. Literally just repping out the offense over and over and over. Free throws are a daily thing that needs to happen, especially while the kids are tired. I like to do shoot 10, we shoot 2, and then we rotate. And then they have to keep track of how many they make, because if we do not make 7, we run. Free throws are very essential to any basketball team, and that can make or break games a lot of the times. I'll repeat this one more time. I would not organize my practice like this. I'm just throwing on random stuff so we understand how to make a practice plan. Right here is called 33s. So I will go into depth about 33s in a different video. I have done every type of conditioning there is, and 33s are by far the worst conditioning I've had to do as a player. And when I tell you I've done everything. To this day, I still condition with my players. And it's very, very essential that I think coaches probably implement some 33s in their practice plan. It's such a great conditioning drill that kids are like, oh, it's super easy, and then all of a sudden they can't make it after the first one. It's a very, very tough. I experienced it as a player. I'm now experiencing it as a coach. I was actually very, very good at these when I was running them. So it's very, very different to see from a coaching standpoint. At this time, we're going live, running offense versus defense. high school level, a lot of kids like to cheat the play, and I think it's essential for the offense to get those looks because in game they might get scouted, and we have to learn how to read and react off of that. But like I said, I wouldn't organize my practice like this. This is just an example. Okay, coaches and future coaches, this is how you make a practice plan. You do not have to use this template. You do not have to use anything that I put on here, but this is just an example. And I think it is a very, very simple one to use.